Nothing is ever given. It must be taken. As people, as individuals, we have the burden of proof. We have to prove it not just to everybody else, but mainly to ourselves. It's really easy to stick to a routine. It's really easy to feel motivated when everything is going well for you in life. But when life comes around and throws a wrench in your plans and totally fucks you over, suddenly you're not so tough. Suddenly you're not as effective as you thought you were. And this is when a lot of people, when the going gets tough, this is when a lot of people fall off. You think a lot of times when you're at, I'm at zero, I'm at rock bottom, I might as well just fuck around, have some fun. But this over time can be really counterproductive. I mean, you can go hard for a long time, you can go hard for several months, and you're just crushing it, all your goals. But then it doesn't take long, only a few weeks, a month, you fall off. You keep every day you say, oh, I'll start tomorrow, But then tomorrow becomes, suddenly one day becomes, I'll start next week, I'll start next month. And then over time, next thing you know, it's 6 months later and you haven't made any damn progress. And maybe you've fallen off, maybe you've gained like 20 pounds. You lost some strength, you lost some gains, you lost progress. And then you got to spend all that extra time just getting back to where you started, rebuilding. So over time, you end up in this situation where you're kind of just going in circles. You're kind of just going around and around. And this can really halt your progress long term. And it's really easy to convince yourself that, you're waiting for that perfect day. You're like, one of these days, as soon as this happens or as soon as this comes, then I'll be ready. But it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes you just got to get going. Sometimes you just got to move, even when, the world itself is basically saying, you're a worthless piece of shit, and you might as well just give up. And that's when a lot of people do give up. So there's nobody, the way I see it, I mean, yes, you have people who care about you, you have friends, you have family, you have people who are kind of rooting for you, but they more or less got their own things going on. And at the end of the day, you're your own greatest advocate. At the end of the day, nobody cares more than you. People will give you advice, they'll support you, but at the end of the day, they can't do it for you. Only you can do it for yourself. So you owe it to yourself. You're ultimately accountable for yourself. It's kind of difficult when you got all these other things going on in life. It's easy to distract yourself. It's easy to say, oh, I'll take care of it later. But then the days, the weeks, the months go by, and few things actually change. Sometimes you just gotta kick yourself in the ass and get going. You can't always wait for the perfect time. So, occasionally, I have this little strategy where sometimes I have this saying, there's this saying, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. Even when you don't particularly feel like it, even if you have fears, doubts, concerns, sometimes that fear, sometimes that doubt is the one thing stopping you. Sometimes that's the hardest part. It's just getting started in the first place. There was this time in my life where I had this brief experience, this brief foray into sales. I was a aspiring life insurance agent, selling life insurance. So that means, you're convincing people, a approaching people, a lot of talking to people. And I mean, it was a total mess. I didn't last long at all. That stuff really just wasn't for me. But I know I had this interview in the beginning, and the one of the hiring managers, he kind of explained the process. He kind of explained how it's difficult in the beginning. When you first start, it's like he came up with this analogy. It's like having a big boulder and pushing a big boulder that's been stuck in the ground for years. When you first push it, that thing's been stuck for a long time. It's got all this moss all over it, covering it. It's half buried in the ground. The hardest part is just giving it that push. Breaking it loose, getting it free. That's the most difficult part. And then from there, you're able to get it out of the ground, and you get it moving. You start pushing, and at first it's slow, but eventually that boulder's going to start picking up speed. It's going to start getting easier. Things compound over time. I think getting started is the hardest part. And this is where a lot of people kind of fail. And I agree. I think that principle, that analogy applies to many things in life. Whatever that it may be. That's fitness, that's business, learning a new skill. Sometimes the hardest part, the majority of it, is just showing up. Just showing up, getting in the door. So every once in a while, there's something I want to do. I just gotta jump in. I just gotta push, because if you just keep waiting, it's not gonna get done. It's just gonna stay the same. You're just gonna keep making excuses. So I have a little side hustle going on. I sell things on Etsy. And I was going to start. This was back in December of 2023. I had a few items ready, and I was preparing to list my first item. I was preparing to open up my store. And first I was tempted to wait till the new year to start, like so many other people would. And I'm like, you know what? No, just start now. Why not? I mean, it's not like I'm gonna change. It's not like I'm gonna wake up on the first, January 1st, wake up, I'm a new man. Just, let's not waste any time. Let's just jump right into it. Let's start now. And sure enough, I listed my first item. It was honestly, it was this copper bowl that I made. And personally, I didn't really like it that much. I think I could have done a much better job. And I'm like, man, nobody's gonna want to buy this. It was this copper bowl. I sold it for like $30, and I'm just like, man, nobody's gonna want my junk. And it's like, of course, I got all these fears, all these doubts. Oh, what if they don't like it? What if they get it and they're like, oh, this is crap. I want my money back. Well, surprisingly, I mean, it sat there for like 3 months, and at that time, I could have easily gone, oh, well, see, nobody wants my stuff. This isn't gonna work. But surprisingly, after 3 months, somebody bought it. I couldn't believe it. I was actually surprised when my item sold. And I'm like, somebody actually wants this? Somebody actually likes this? Literally just this copper sheet that is pounded with a hammer. And I'm like, well, what if they don't like it? But I'm like, you know what? If this is what it takes to get me going, if this is what it takes to get me started, then I'll have to take that chance. Sometimes you just gotta take risks in life. And thankfully, there were no issues. And now, fast forward, I've made many more sales. They're steadily increasing. Even now, I mean, already this year, this has already proven to be a better year. My second year is already much better than my first year. I mean, here we are just in June, and I've made just as many sales in 6 months as I made in my entire first year. And so imagine if I never actually started. Imagine if I let those fears hold me back. And this is where a lot of people fuck up. At the end of the day, and of course, nobody else was going to do it for me. At the end of the day, I owed it to myself to get it done. Then we have this. I made my first YouTube video beginning of the year, back in January. And you know, that was probably one of the most uncomfortable things I ever did. But I knew it had to be done because it just opens up a world of opportunities. Did I have my fears? Did I have my doubts? Absolutely. But there's some things, you know, I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. You know, that popular saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It just boils down to, you know, if you're serious, if you truly want something, you just have to go out and get it. Because it's not going to come on its own. It's not going to fall into your lap. Nobody's going to do it for you. So, should be seeing some more of me soon. And I also have another channel going on that I've been working on as well. It's based off of my online store, my Etsy store, Lost Treasure Forge, where I basically, it's a bunch of blacksmithing, metalsmithing. I forge a bunch of objects, small everyday items. So you can always check that out as well. Anyway, I figured I'd just come on here, talk a little bit, kind of explain the situation I've been through lately. Well, I guess that pretty much wraps it up. That's all I got for now. So, take care. This brief four-way.